C2M2 Practice Questions Part 4. 4. Be transparent and honest. Share information openly and honestly with stakeholders. Be upfront about any challenges or risks that the project may face. Acknowledge mistakes and take corrective action when necessary. 5. Be responsive and timely. Respond to stakeholder inquiries promptly and professionally. Provide updates on project progress regularly. Be available to answer questions and address concerns. 6. Use visual aids. Charts, graphs, and other visual aids can help to communicate complex information more effectively. Use visuals to illustrate project progress, timelines, and budgets. 7. Actively listen to stakeholders. Pay attention to stakeholder feedback and concerns. Ask clarifying questions to ensure you understand their perspective. Take stakeholder input into consideration when making decisions. 8. Use technology to facilitate communication. Utilize online collaboration tools, video conferencing, and project management software to facilitate communication and information sharing. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could implement the following communication strategies: regular team meetings, hold weekly team meetings to discuss progress, challenges, and next steps. Client updates. Provide weekly or bi-weekly updates to the client on project progress and budget status. Stakeholder presentations. Present project milestones and achievements to key stakeholders at regular intervals. Social media engagement. Use social media to share project updates and engage with the racing community. Open communication policy. Encourage team members and stakeholders to communicate openly and honestly with each other. By following these strategies, you can ensure that all stakeholders are kept informed, engaged, and aligned with the project goals. What strategies can you use to manage stakeholder expectations and prevent scope creep? Strategies for managing stakeholder expectations and preventing scope creep. Managing stakeholder expectations and preventing scope creep are essential for successful project delivery. Here are some strategies you can use. 1. Clearly define project scope. Clearly define the project's objectives, deliverables, tasks, timeline, and budget. Ensure that all stakeholders have a clear understanding of what is included in and excluded from the project scope. Use a project charter or scope statement to formally document the project scope. 2. Communicate effectively. Communicate the project scope clearly and concisely to all stakeholders. Use multiple communication channels to reach different stakeholder groups. Provide regular updates on project progress and any changes to the scope. Be transparent and honest about any challenges or risks that may impact the project scope. 3. Establish a change management process. Develop a formal process for managing changes to the project scope. Require all change requests to be submitted in writing and reviewed by the project team. Evaluate the impact of each change request on the project scope, timeline, and budget. Only approve changes that are essential to the project's success. 4. Set realistic expectations. Be realistic about what can be achieved within the project scope and timeline. Don't overpromise or underdeliver. Set clear expectations for stakeholder involvement and feedback. 5. Monitor and control scope. Regularly monitor project progress to identify any potential scope creep. Take corrective action to bring the project back on track if scope creep occurs. Use project management tools and techniques to track scope, schedule, and budget. 6. Build strong relationships with stakeholders. Develop strong relationships with stakeholders based on trust and a mutual respect. Actively listen to stakeholder concerns and feedback. Work collaboratively with stakeholders to resolve issues and find solutions. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could implement the following strategies. Detailed scope document. Create a detailed scope document that outlines the project objectives, deliverables, tasks, timeline, budget, and assumptions. Regular stakeholder meetings. Hold regular meetings with stakeholders to discuss project progress, address concerns, and manage expectations. Change control process. Establish a formal change control process that requires all change requests to be submitted in writing and approved by the project manager. Realistic timelines. Set realistic timelines for each project task, taking into account the complexity of the work and the team's availability. Open communication. Encourage open communication between the project team and stakeholders. Be transparent about any challenges or risks that may impact the project scope. By following these strategies, you can effectively manage stakeholder expectations and prevent scope creep, ensuring that the project is delivered on time, within budget, and to the satisfaction of all stakeholders. How can you ensure that your stakeholder communication is clear and easy for them to understand? Strategies for clear and effective stakeholder communication. Effective stakeholder communication is crucial for project success. Here are some strategies to ensure your communication is clear and easy for stakeholders to understand. 1. Tailor your communication to your audience. Consider the stakeholders' level of technical expertise and their role in the project. Use language that is appropriate for their understanding. Avoid using jargon or technical terms that they may not be familiar with. 2. Use clear and concise language. Communicate in a clear and concise manner. Avoid using complex sentences or ambiguous language. Get straight to the point and avoid unnecessary details. 3. Use visual aids. Use visual aids such as charts, graphs, and diagrams to illustrate complex information. Visuals can help stakeholders understand information more easily and retain it better. 4. Use multiple communication channels. Use a variety of communication channels to reach different stakeholder groups. This could include email, meetings, presentations, and social media. Consider the stakeholders' preferred communication methods. 5. Actively listen to feedback. Encourage stakeholders to ask questions and provide feedback. Actively listen to their concerns and address them promptly. Use feedback to improve your communication and ensure that stakeholders are kept informed. 6. Be transparent and honest. Be transparent and honest in your communication. Share both good and bad news with stakeholders. Don't try to sugarcoat or hide information. 7. Use plain language. Use plain language that is easy to understand. Avoid using jargon or technical terms. Explain complex concepts in simple terms. 8. Use active voice. Use active voice instead of passive voice. This will make your communication more direct and engaging. 9. Proofread your communication. Proofread your communication carefully before sending it out. Make sure there are no errors in grammar, spelling, or punctuation. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could implement the following strategies. Plain language. Use plain languages to explain the project scope, goals, and timeline to stakeholders. Avoid using technical jargon or acronyms. Visual aids. Use visual aids such as charts and diagrams to illustrate the project timeline and budget. Regular updates. Provide regular updates to stakeholders on project progress, using multiple communication channels such as email and meetings. Open communication. Encourage stakeholders to ask questions and provide feedback. Be transparent and honest in your communication. By following these strategies, you can ensure that your stakeholder communication is clear, concise, and easy for them to understand. This will help to build trust and ensure that everyone is on the same page, which is essential for project success. What are some strategies for managing stakeholder expectations when they have unrealistic demands? Strategies for managing unrealistic stakeholder demands. Managing stakeholder expectations can be challenging, especially when they have unrealistic demands. Here are some strategies you can use. 1. Understand the stakeholder's perspective. Take the time to understand the stakeholder's perspective and why they have these demands. What are their motivations and concerns? What are their expectations for the project? 2. Communicate clearly and honestly. Communicate clearly and honestly with the stakeholder about the project's constraints. Explain the limitations of the budget, timeline, and resources. Be upfront about any potential risks or challenges. 3. Set realistic expectations. Work with the stakeholder to set realistic expectations for the project. This may involve adjusting the project's scope, timeline, or budget. Be clear about what can and cannot be achieved. 4. Negotiate and compromise. Be willing to negotiate and compromise with the stakeholder. Look for ways to meet their needs while still staying within the project's constraints. Be creative and think outside the box. 5. Manage expectations over time. Managing expectations is an ongoing process. Communicate regularly with the stakeholder to keep them updated on project progress. Be prepared to adjust expectations as needed. 6. Use data and evidence. Use data and evidence to support your claims. This could include project plans, budgets, and timelines. Data can help to make your case more persuasive. 7. Build trust and credibility. Build trust and credibility with the stakeholder. Be reliable and deliver on your promises. Be transparent and honest in your communication. 8. Seek support from others. If you are struggling to manage stakeholder expectations, seek support from others. This could include your project manager, team members, or other stakeholders. Getting outside perspectives can be helpful. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could implement the following strategies. Data-driven approach. Use data to support your claims about the project's constraints. For example, you could show the stakeholder historical data on the cost of rebuilding engines to achieve 2000 horsepower. Phased approach. Propose a phased approach to the project, where you deliver a working prototype of the car first and then work on optimizing its performance for the race. Alternative solutions. Explore alternative solutions that meet the stakeholders' needs but are more feasible within the project's constraints. For example, you could suggest choosing a different car model that is more affordable to rebuild. By following these strategies, you can effectively manage stakeholder expectations and ensure that the project is successful. How can you effectively track and measure stakeholder satisfaction throughout the project? Tracking and measuring stakeholder satisfaction. Effectively tracking and measuring stakeholder satisfaction throughout the project is crucial for ensuring project success. Here are some strategies you can use. 1. Identify key stakeholders. The first step is to identify the key stakeholders for your project. These are the individuals or groups who have a vested interest in the project's success. Consider their level of influence, interest, and impact on the project. 2. Establish a baseline. Before you can track stakeholder satisfaction, you need to establish a baseline. This involves understanding their initial expectations and perceptions of the project. You can do this through surveys, interviews, or focus groups. 3. Develop a measurement plan. Develop a plan for how you will track and measure stakeholder satisfaction. This should include the methods you will use, the frequency of measurement, and the metrics you will track. Consider using a combination of quantitative and qualitative data. 4. Collect data regularly. Collect data on stakeholder satisfaction regularly throughout the project. This will allow you to track changes over time and identify any areas where satisfaction is declining. Use a variety of methods to collect data, such as surveys, interviews, and focus groups. 5. Analyze and interpret data. Analyze and interpret the data you collect to identify trends and patterns. Look for areas where stakeholder satisfaction is high or low. Identify the factors that are contributing to stakeholder satisfaction or dissatisfaction. 6. Take action. Take action to address any areas where stakeholder satisfaction is low. This may involve making changes to the project plan, communicating more effectively with stakeholders, or providing additional resources. 7. Communicate results. Communicate the results of your stakeholder satisfaction tracking to stakeholders regularly. This will keep them informed and engaged in the project. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could implement the following strategies. Regular stakeholder meetings. Hold regular meetings with stakeholders to discuss their satisfaction with the project. Satisfaction surveys. Conduct surveys at key points in the project to measure stakeholder satisfaction. Focus groups. Conduct focus groups with stakeholders to gather in-depth feedback on their satisfaction with the project. Project dashboard. Create a project dashboard that tracks key metrics related to stakeholder satisfaction, such as the number of issues raised, the time it takes to resolve issues, and the overall satisfaction score. By following these strategies, you can effectively track and measure stakeholder satisfaction throughout the project and ensure that stakeholders are satisfied with the project's outcomes. What are some common causes of conflicts among stakeholders in a project? Common causes of stakeholder conflicts. Conflicts among stakeholders are common in projects, and they can have a negative impact on project success. Here are some of the most common causes of stakeholder conflicts. 1. Differing goals and priorities. Stakeholders often have different goals and priorities for the project. This can lead to conflict if stakeholders are not aligned on what the project should achieve. For example, in the provided example, the project sponsor may be focused on winning the street race, while the team may be more focused on showcasing their skills and expertise. 2. Lack of communication. Poor communication can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Stakeholders need to be kept informed about the project's progress and any changes that are made. In the provided example, if the team does not communicate effectively with the project sponsor about the challenges they are facing, it could lead to conflict. 3. Unrealistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations can also lead to conflict. Stakeholders need to be realistic about what can be achieved within the project's constraints. In the provided example, if the project sponsor expects the team to win the street race without providing them with the necessary resources, it could lead to conflict. 4. Power struggles. Power struggles can also lead to conflict. Stakeholders may compete for power and influence over the project. In the provided example, if the team and the project sponsor are both trying to exert control over the project, it could lead to conflict. 5. Cultural differences. Cultural differences can also lead to conflict. Stakeholders from different cultures may have different communication styles and expectations. In the provided example, if the team and the project sponsor come from different cultures, it could lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Example application. In the context of the provided example, some potential causes of conflict could include differing goals. The project sponsor may be focused on winning the street race, while the team may be more focused on showcasing their skills and expertise. Lack of communication. The team may not be communicating effectively with the project sponsor about the challenges they are facing. Unrealistic expectations. The project sponsor may expect the team to win the street race without providing them with the necessary resources. Power struggles. The team and the project sponsor may be competing for power and influence over the project. By understanding the common causes of stakeholder conflicts, you can take steps to prevent them from occurring or to resolve them effectively if they do occur. How can you ensure that the methods used to track stakeholder satisfaction are reliable and valid? Ensuring reliability and validity of stakeholder satisfaction tracking methods. Reliability refers to the consistency of a measurement. A reliable method will produce similar results each time it is used. Validity refers to the accuracy of a measurement. A valid method will measure what it is intended to measure. To ensure that the methods used to track stakeholder satisfaction are reliable and valid, you should consider the following. 1. Use a variety of methods. Don't rely on just one method to track stakeholder satisfaction. Use a combination of methods, such as surveys, interviews, and focus groups. This will help to ensure that you are getting a comprehensive view of stakeholder satisfaction. 2. Use validated instruments. When using surveys or questionnaires, make sure that you are using instruments that have been validated. This means that the instrument has been shown to be reliable and valid in measuring stakeholder satisfaction. 3. Train your data collectors. If you are using data collectors to collect data on stakeholder satisfaction, make sure that they are properly trained. This will help to ensure that the data is collected accurately and consistently. 4. Pilot test your methods. Before you start collecting data on stakeholder satisfaction, pilot test your methods with a small group of stakeholders. This will help you to identify any problems with your methods and make necessary adjustments. 5. Analyze your data carefully. Once you have collected data on stakeholder satisfaction, analyze it carefully to identify any trends or patterns. This will help you to understand what is working well and what needs to be improved. Example application. In the context of the provided example, you could use a variety of methods to track stakeholder satisfaction, such as surveys. You could survey stakeholders to get their feedback on the project's progress and their overall satisfaction with the project. Interviews. You could interview stakeholders to get their in-depth feedback on the project. Focus groups. You could hold focus groups with stakeholders to get their feedback on specific aspects of the project. By using a variety of methods, you can ensure that you are getting a comprehensive view of stakeholder satisfaction. Additional tips. Make sure that your methods are easy to use and understand. Collect data on stakeholder satisfaction regularly. Communicate the results of your stakeholder satisfaction tracking to stakeholders. Take action to address any concerns that stakeholders raise. By following these tips, you can ensure that the methods you use to track stakeholder satisfaction are reliable and valid. This will help you to make informed decisions about how to improve stakeholder satisfaction and project success. How can active listening help in resolving conflicts among stakeholders? Active listening for conflict resolution. Active listening is a powerful tool for resolving conflicts among stakeholders. By actively listening to stakeholders, you can understand their perspectives. Active listening helps you to understand where stakeholders are coming from and why they feel the way they do. This is essential for finding common ground and resolving conflicts. Build trust. When stakeholders feel heard and understood, they are more likely to trust you and work with you to find solutions. Identify the root of the conflict. Active listening can help you to identify the underlying causes of the conflict. This is important for addressing the root of the problem and preventing future conflicts. Develop creative solutions. By listening to all sides of the conflict, you can develop creative solutions that meet the needs of all stakeholders. Example application. In the context of the provided example, Active listening could be used to resolve conflicts among stakeholders in the following ways. Listen to the concerns of the team members. The team members may have concerns about the feasibility of the project, the timeline, or the budget. By actively listening to their concerns, you can address them and develop a plan that everyone is comfortable with. Listen to the concerns of the sponsors. The sponsors may have concerns about the risks involved in the project or the potential return on investment. By actively listening to their concerns, you can develop a plan that mitigates the risks and maximizes the potential return on investment. Listen to the concerns of the community. The community may have concerns about the noise or traffic generated by the project. By actively listening to their concerns, you can develop a plan that minimizes the impact on the community. Active listening tips. Pay attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues. When you are actively listening, you are paying attention to both what the person is saying and how they are saying it. This includes their body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. Ask clarifying questions. When you are not sure what someone means, ask clarifying questions. This will help you to understand their perspective better. Summarize what you have heard. After you have listened to someone, summarize what you have heard to make sure that you understand them correctly. Avoid interrupting. When someone is talking, avoid interrupting them. Let them finish their thought before you start talking. Be empathetic. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand how they are feeling. By following these tips, you can become a more effective active listener and use this skill to resolve conflicts among stakeholders. Can you provide an example of how mediation can be used to resolve stakeholder conflicts? Mediation for stakeholder conflict resolution. Mediation is a structured process that can be used to resolve conflicts among stakeholders. In mediation, a neutral third party, the mediator, facilitates a discussion between the stakeholders to help them reach a mutually agreeable solution. Example application. In the context of the provided example, mediation could be used to resolve conflicts among stakeholders in the following ways. Identify the issues. The mediator would help the stakeholders to identify the issues that are causing the conflict. This could include issues such as the project scope, timeline, budget, or team composition. Facilitate communication. The mediator would help the stakeholders to communicate their needs and concerns to each other in a constructive way. This would allow the stakeholders to understand each other's perspectives and to work together to find solutions. Develop solutions. The mediator would help the stakeholders to develop solutions that meet the needs of all parties involved. This could include compromises, trade-offs, or creative solutions that address the underlying issues. Reach an agreement. The mediator would help the stakeholders to reach an agreement that is acceptable to everyone. This agreement would be documented in writing and would be binding on all parties involved. Benefits of mediation. Voluntary. Mediation is a voluntary process, so all parties involved must agree to participate. This ensures that everyone is committed to finding a solution. Confidential. Mediation is a confidential process, so the discussions that take place during mediation are not shared with anyone outside of the mediation process. This allows the stakeholders to feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings openly. Impartial. The mediator is an impartial third party who does not take sides in the conflict. This allows the mediator to facilitate a fair and balanced discussion. Mutually agreeable. The goal of mediation is to reach a solution that is mutually agreeable to all parties involved. This ensures that everyone is satisfied with the outcome. Conclusion. Mediation can be an effective tool for resolving conflicts among stakeholders. By providing a structured process for communication and negotiation, mediation can help stakeholders to reach mutually agreeable solutions that meet the needs of all parties involved. How can effective stakeholder communication contribute to project success? Effective stakeholder communication for project success. Effective stakeholder communication is crucial for project success. By keeping stakeholders informed, engaged, and aligned, you can increase the chances of your project meeting its goals. Benefits of effective stakeholder communication. Increased stakeholder buy-in. When stakeholders are kept informed about the project, they are more likely to buy into its goals and objectives. This can lead to increased support and resources for the project. Improved decision-making. Effective communication can help to ensure that all stakeholders are aware of the relevant information and can provide input into decision-making. This can lead to better decisions that are more likely to be successful. Reduced conflict. Clear and open communication can help to prevent misunderstandings and conflict among stakeholders. This can save time and resources that would otherwise be spent resolving disputes. Increased project efficiency. Effective communication can help to keep the project on track and avoid delays. This is because stakeholders will be aware of any potential problems and can take steps to address them early on. Improved project outcomes. Ultimately, effective stakeholder communication can lead to improved project outcomes. This is because stakeholders will be more likely to support the project and work together to achieve its goals. Example application. In the context of the provided example, effective stakeholder communication could be used in the following ways. Regular project updates. The project manager should provide regular updates to stakeholders on the project's progress, challenges, and successes. This could be done through email, meetings, or other communication channels. Open and transparent communication. The project manager should be open and transparent with stakeholders about the project. This means being honest about the project's challenges and risks, as well as its successes. Active listening. The project manager should actively listen to stakeholders' concerns and feedback. This will help to ensure that all stakeholders feel heard and that their input is valued. Tailored communication. The project manager should tailor their communication to the needs of each stakeholder. This means using different communication channels and formats to reach different stakeholders. Conclusion. Effective stakeholder communication is essential for project success. By keeping stakeholders informed, engaged, and aligned, you can increase the chances of your project meeting its goals. Additional tips. Use clear and concise language. Be respectful of stakeholders' time. Use visuals to help communicate complex information. Follow up on communications to ensure understanding. Be prepared to answer questions. By following these tips, you can ensure that your stakeholder communication is effective and contributes to the success of your project. Strong stakeholder relationships for project success. Strong stakeholder relationships can play a crucial role in ensuring project success. By building trust and rapport with stakeholders, you can create a more collaborative and supportive environment for your project. Example. In the context of the provided example, strong stakeholder relationships could have helped ensure project success in the following ways. Early identification of potential issues. By building strong relationships with key stakeholders, the project manager could have identified potential issues early on. This would have allowed the team to take steps to mitigate these issues before they became major problems. Increased support from stakeholders. Strong stakeholder relationships can lead to increased support from stakeholders. This could include financial support, access to resources, and political support. Improved communication and collaboration. Strong stakeholder relationships can lead to improved communication and collaboration among stakeholders. This can help to ensure that everyone is on the same page and working towards the same goals. Reduced conflict. Strong stakeholder relationships can help to reduce conflict among stakeholders. This is because stakeholders will be more likely to trust each other and work together to resolve any disagreements. Specific example. Imagine that the project manager in this example had built a strong relationship with the project sponsor. This relationship would have allowed the project manager to keep the sponsor informed about the project's progress and challenges. The sponsor would then have been able to provide support and resources as needed. Additionally, the project manager could have used the sponsor's influence to help resolve any conflicts that arose among stakeholders. Conclusion. Strong stakeholder relationships can be a valuable asset for any project. By building trust and rapport with stakeholders, you can create a more collaborative and supportive environment for your project. This can lead to improved communication, reduced conflict, and increased support from stakeholders. All of these factors can contribute to the success of your project. Additional tips. Get to know your stakeholders. Build trust and rapport. Communicate regularly and openly. Be responsive to stakeholders' needs. Project initiation. Starting a successful project course. Module 3 focuses on utilizing resources and tools for project success. Be respectful of stakeholders' time. By following these tips, you can build strong stakeholder relationships that will help ensure the success of your project. What are some potential challenges or obstacles that may arise when resolving conflicts among stakeholders? Potential challenges in resolving stakeholder conflicts. Resolving conflicts among stakeholders can be a complex and challenging task. Here are some potential challenges that may arise. 1. Identifying the root cause of the conflict. It is important to identify the root cause of the conflict before attempting to resolve it. This can be difficult, as stakeholders may have different perspectives on the issue. It is important to listen to all stakeholders and try to understand their concerns. 2. Differing priorities and interests. Stakeholders may have different priorities and interests, which can make it difficult to reach a resolution that satisfies everyone. It is important to find a solution that meets the needs of all stakeholders as much as possible. 3. Lack of trust. If there is a lack of trust among stakeholders, it can be difficult to resolve conflicts. It is important to build trust by being honest and transparent, and by following through on commitments. 4. Poor communication. Poor communication can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. It is important to communicate clearly and effectively with all stakeholders. 5. Emotional reactions. Conflicts can be emotional, which can make it difficult to think clearly and make rational decisions. It is important to take a step back and try to see the situation from a neutral perspective. Specific example: in the context of the provided example, a potential conflict could arise between the project manager and the project sponsor. The project manager may want to focus on meeting the project's technical goals, such as increasing the engine horsepower and achieving the desired 8th mile time. The project sponsor, on the other hand, may be more concerned with the project's budget and timeline. This could lead to conflict if the project manager and sponsor have different priorities. Tips for resolving conflicts: identify the root cause of the conflict. Listen to all stakeholders and try to understand their concerns. Find a solution that meets the needs of all stakeholders as much as possible. Build trust by being honest and transparent, and by following through on commitments. Communicate clearly and effectively with all stakeholders. Take a step back and try to see the situation from a neutral perspective. By following these tips, you can increase your chances of resolving conflicts among stakeholders in a successful manner. What are the key components of project initiation and how do they contribute to project success? How can project management software help in defining project goals and deliverables? Project management software and defining project goals and deliverables. Project management software can be a valuable tool in defining project goals and deliverables. Here's how it can help, using your example of the 1969 Ford Torino project. 1. Goal setting and tracking. SMART goals. Project management software can help you set SMART goals by providing templates and prompts to ensure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, you can use the software to define the specific goal of increase engine horsepower to 2000 horsepower and track its progress through data visualization tools. Goal breakdown. You can break down complex goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. This makes them easier to track and ensures everyone on the team understands their individual contributions to achieving the overall goal. For instance, the goal of achieving an 8th mile time of 3.7 seconds or less can be broken down into subtasks like reduce weight by 200 pounds and optimize tire pressure and alignment. Visualization tools. Many project management software programs offer visual tools like Gantt charts and Kanban boards to visualize goals and track progress. This helps the team stay focused and motivated, and allows for quick identification of any potential roadblocks. 2. Deliverable management. Deliverable lists. Project management software allows you to create comprehensive lists of deliverables, including detailed descriptions, deadlines, and assigned team members. This ensures everyone is clear on what needs to be delivered and by when. For example, you can create a deliverable for the 1969 Ford Torino with a 2000 horsepower engine, specifying the engine specifications, completion date, and responsible team members. Dependency management. You can define dependencies between deliverables, ensuring that tasks are completed in the correct order. This helps avoid delays and ensures that the project stays on track. For instance, the deliverable of rebuilding the engine to achieve the desired horsepower must be completed before the deliverable of testing and tuning the car to optimize performance. Progress tracking. Track the progress of each deliverable, allowing you to identify any potential issues early on and take corrective action. This helps ensure that deliverables are completed on time and to the required standard. 3. Communication and collaboration. Centralized platform. Project management software provides a central platform for communication and collaboration. This allows team members to share information, discuss tasks, and ask questions in real time. For example, team members working on the sourcing and acquiring the necessary parts and components task can use the platform to share updates on their progress and discuss any challenges they encounter. Document management. Store all project-related documents in one central location, making them easily accessible to all team members. This eliminates the need to search through emails or shared drives for the latest information. Notifications and alerts. Set up notifications and alerts to keep everyone informed about important updates, deadlines, and task completions. This helps ensure that everyone is on the same page and that the project progresses smoothly. In conclusion, project management software can be a valuable tool in defining project goals and deliverables. By providing features for goal setting, deliverable management, communication, and collaboration, it can help you achieve project success. Remember, the key to using project management software effectively is to choose the right tool for your needs and to use it consistently throughout the project lifecycle. Can you provide an example of how scope creep can impact a project's success criteria? Scope creep and its impact on project success criteria. Scope creep refers to the uncontrolled expansion of a project's scope, often leading to increased costs, delays, and compromised quality. Let's explore how scope creep can impact the success criteria of your 1969 Ford Reno project. 1. Increased costs, unforeseen expenses. Scope creep can introduce unforeseen expenses, such as the need for additional parts, materials, or labor. This can significantly exceed the initial budget of $175,000, putting the project's financial viability at risk. Missed deadlines. As the scope expands, the project timeline may need to be extended, leading to missed deadlines and potential penalties. This can also impact the team's ability to compete in the local street race on June 1, 2024. 2. Compromised quality, focus dilution. When the scope expands, the team's focus may be diluted, leading to compromised quality in the final product. This could mean the car doesn't achieve the desired horsepower or 8th mile time, or that it doesn't meet safety regulations. Technical challenges. Introducing new features or functionalities can introduce unforeseen technical challenges, requiring additional time and resources to resolve. This can further delay the project and impact its overall success. 3. Reduced team morale, increased workload. Scope creep can lead to an increased workload for the team, causing stress and burnout. This can negatively impact team morale and productivity, further jeopardizing the project's success. Demotivation. When the project's goals and objectives constantly shift, it can demotivate the team, making them feel like they are constantly chasing a moving target. This can lead to a decrease in overall project ownership and commitment. 4. Missed opportunities, resource allocation. Focusing on additional features or functionalities can divert resources away from other important project areas. This can lead to missed opportunities for improvement or innovation in the core project goals. Market relevance. If the scope creep introduces features that are not aligned with market needs or trends, it can make the final product less relevant and competitive. This can impact the project's overall success and potential for future growth. In conclusion, scope creep can significantly impact a project's success criteria by increasing costs, compromising quality, reducing team morale, and leading to missed opportunities. It is crucial to manage scope effectively and proactively to ensure that the project stays on track and meets its intended goals. Remember, effective communication, clear project documentation, and a strong change management process are essential tools in preventing and managing scope creep. What are the main features or capabilities of project management software for tracking progress and managing resources? How can project management software help in identifying and resolving resource conflicts or bottlenecks? Can you provide an example of how project management software can generate reports to track project progress and resource utilization? What are some common challenges that project managers face when it comes to budgeting and cost control? How can effective budgeting and cost control contribute to the overall success of a project? Can you provide an example of a situation where effective cost control measures helped a project stay within budget? How can risk management techniques help in identifying and assessing potential risks in a project? What are some strategies for mitigating risks with low impact but high likelihood? Can you explain the role of the risk register in the risk management process? What are the key components of effective project budgeting and cost control? How can effective communication help in managing the interests of different stakeholders in the project? Can you provide an example of how addressing stakeholder concerns in a timely manner can impact the success of the project? Case study: Office Green Plant Pals. Based on the information provided in the case study, what are the key goals, scope, and success criteria for the Plant Pals project? Case study: Office Green Plant Pals. Key goals: increase revenue. The Plant Pals project aims to increase revenue for Office Green by offering a new service to high-volume customers. Expand customer base. The project also aims to expand Office Green's customer base by targeting new market segments. Improve customer satisfaction. The project aims to improve customer satisfaction by providing a high-quality, low-maintenance plant service. Scope, target market. The Plant Pals project will target high-volume customers, such as office buildings and businesses. Plant selection. The project will offer a variety of small, low-maintenance plants, such as cacti and ferns. Delivery and installation. The project will include delivery and installation of the plants. Maintenance. The project will include a maintenance plan to ensure that the plants stay healthy. Success criteria. Revenue growth. The project will be considered a success if it increases revenue by 10% in the first year. Customer acquisition. The project will be considered a success if it acquires 100 new customers in the first year. Customer satisfaction. The project will be considered a success if it achieves a customer satisfaction rating of 90%. Additional considerations. Competition. The project will need to consider the competition from other plant providers. Regulations. The project will need to comply with all applicable regulations. Budget. The project will need to stay within budget. By carefully considering these goals, scope, and success criteria, Office Green can increase the chances of success for the Plant Pals project. Who are the key stakeholders in the Plant Pals project, and what are their interests? Key stakeholders in the Plant Pals project. Project manager. The project manager is responsible for the overall success of the project. Their interests include delivering the project on time, within budget, and to the required quality. Project team. The project team includes the individuals who will be responsible for carrying out the project work. Their interests include completing their tasks on time and to the required quality. Executive sponsor. The executive sponsor is a senior manager who provides support and resources for the project. Their interests include ensuring that the project aligns with the organization's strategic goals. Customers. The customers are the end users of the Plant Pals service. Their interests include receiving a high-quality, low-maintenance plant service. Suppliers. The suppliers are the companies that will provide the plants and other materials for the project. Their interests include being paid on time and in full. Investors. The investors are the individuals or organizations that have provided funding for the project. Their interests include receiving a return on their investment. Interests of key stakeholders. Project manager. Deliver the project on time, within budget, and to the required quality. Project team. Complete their tasks on time and to the required quality. Executive sponsor. Ensure that the project aligns with the organization's strategic goals. Customers. Receive a high-quality, low-maintenance plant service. Suppliers. Be paid on time and in full. Investors. Receive a return on their investment. Managing stakeholder interests. It is important to manage the interests of all stakeholders in order to ensure the success of the project. This can be done by communicating effectively with all stakeholders, keeping stakeholders informed of the project's progress, addressing stakeholder concerns in a timely manner, building relationships with stakeholders. By managing stakeholder interests effectively, you can increase the chances of success for the Plant Pals project. What are some potential risks associated with the Plant Pals project, and how can they be mitigated? Potential risks associated with the Plant Pals project. Competition. There is a risk that competitors may offer similar services at a lower price. This could lead to Office Green losing market share. Regulations. There is a risk that new regulations could be introduced that make it more difficult to operate the Plant Pals service. This could increase costs and reduce profitability. Customer satisfaction. There is a risk that customers may not be satisfied with the Plant Pals service. This could lead to negative word of mouth and a loss of customers. Project management. There is a risk that the project may not be managed effectively. This could lead to delays, cost overruns, and poor quality. Mitigating potential risks. Competition. Office Green can mitigate the risk of competition by offering a unique and high-quality service. They can also focus on building strong relationships with customers. Regulations. Office Green can mitigate the risk of regulations by staying up to date on the latest changes and by working with regulators to ensure that the Plant Pals service complies with all applicable laws. Customer satisfaction. Office Green can mitigate the risk of customer dissatisfaction by providing a high-quality service and by responding promptly to customer concerns. Project management. Office Green can mitigate the risk of poor project management by using a proven project management methodology and by selecting a qualified project manager. By taking steps to mitigate these potential risks, Office Green can increase the chances of success for the Plant Pals project. What resources and tools would be most helpful for the Plant Pals project team? Resources and tools for the Plant Pals project team. Project management software. Project management software can help the project team to plan, track and manage the project. Some popular project management software options include Asana, Trello, and Microsoft Project. Communication tools. Communication tools can help the project team to stay in touch with each other and with stakeholders. Some popular communication tools include Slack, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams. Collaboration tools. Collaboration tools can help the project team to work together on documents and other project deliverables. Some popular collaboration tools include Google Docs, Microsoft Office 365, and Dropbox. Customer Relationship Management, CRM, software. CRM software can help the project team to track customer interactions and to manage customer relationships. Some popular CRM software options include Salesforce, HubSpot, and Zoho CRM. Plant Care Resources. Plant Care Resources can help the project team to learn about the care and maintenance of the plants that will be used in the Plant Pals service. Some popular plant care resources include the National Gardening Association, the American Society for Horticultural Science, and the University of California Master Gardener Program. Using resources and tools effectively. It is important to use resources and tools effectively in order to maximize their impact on the project. Here are some tips for using resources and tools effectively. Select the right tools for the job. Not all tools are created equal. Choose tools that are specifically designed for the tasks that you need to accomplish. Train your team on how to use the tools. Make sure that your team knows how to use the tools effectively before you start using them on the project. Use the tools consistently. Don't use a tool once and then forget about it. Use the tools consistently to get the most out of them. Evaluate the tools regularly. Make sure that the tools are still meeting your needs. If not, consider switching to different tools. By using resources and tools effectively, the Plant Pals project team can increase the chances of success for the project. How to set SMART goals. Practice questions for project initiation, starting a successful project. 1. SMART goals. Identify the SMART criteria for setting effective project goals. SMART goals are like building a hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars. Specific, like deciding exactly what color to paint the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars. Measurable, it's like making sure the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars goes a certain speed when Steve Petty tunes it. Achievable, like making sure the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars can actually be built with the parts available. Relevant, it's like making sure the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars fits in a street race that JJDA Boss organizes. Time-bound, like deciding when the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars needs to be finished before the race starts. These goals make sure everyone knows exactly what to do and when to do it, just like building a hot rod for a race. SMART criteria for effective project goals. The SMART criteria is a widely used framework for setting effective project goals. It stands for, specific. The goal should be clearly defined and unambiguous. It should answer the questions of who, what, when, where, and why. Measurable. The goal should be quantifiable, meaning it can be tracked and measured objectively. This allows you to determine progress and success. Attainable. The goal should be realistic and achievable within the given time frame and resources. Setting overly ambitious goals can lead to discouragement and failure. Relevant. The goal should be aligned with the overall project objectives and organizational priorities. It should make sense in the context of the project and contribute to its success. Time-bound. The goal should have a specific deadline or time frame for completion. This creates a sense of urgency and helps track progress. Explain how each SMART criteria contributes to a successful project. Specific, like knowing exactly what color to paint a hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars. It helps everyone understand what needs to be done. Measurable, it's like checking how fast a hot rod goes after Steve Petty tunes it. You can see if you're reaching your goal. Achievable, like making sure the hot rod at Larry Jeffers race cars can actually be built with the parts you have. It keeps things realistic. Relevant, it's like making sure the hot rod fits in a street race that JJDA Boss organizes. Everything you do should help with the main goal. Time-bound, like deciding when the hot rod needs to be ready before the race starts. It sets a deadline to work towards. These things make sure everyone knows what to do and when, just like getting a hot rod ready for a big race. How each SMART criteria contributes to a successful project. Specific, clarity and focus. A specific goal provides a clear understanding of what needs to be achieved, eliminating ambiguity and confusion. Direction and alignment. It guides team members towards a common objective, ensuring everyone is working towards the same outcome. Measurable progress. Specificity allows for the development of clear metrics to track progress and measure success. Measurable, objective evaluation. Measurable goals allow for objective evaluation of progress and outcomes, eliminating subjectivity and bias. Motivation and accountability. Tracking progress against measurable goals provides motivation and keeps team members accountable. Data-driven decision-making. Measurable data allows for informed decision-making based on concrete evidence. Attainable, realistic expectations. Setting attainable goals fosters a sense of confidence and motivation, as team members believe they can achieve the desired outcome. Resource allocation. Attainable goals guide the allocation of resources effectively, ensuring they are used efficiently to achieve the desired outcome. Risk management. Setting realistic goals helps identify and manage potential risks, as overly ambitious goals can lead to unforeseen challenges. Relevant, alignment with objectives. Relevant goals contribute directly to the overall project objectives and organizational priorities, ensuring efforts are focused on achieving the desired outcomes. Stakeholder buy-in. When goals are relevant to stakeholders, it increases their buy-in and support for the project. Value creation. Relevant goals ensure that the project delivers value to the organization and its stakeholders. Time-bound, sense of urgency. Deadlines create a sense of urgency and motivate team members to work efficiently towards achieving the goal. Progress tracking. Time-bound goals allow for regular progress tracking and adjustments as needed to ensure timely completion. Project completion. Deadlines provide a clear endpoint for the project, ensuring it is completed within a defined time frame. Create a SMART goal for a project of your choice. Build a fast hot rod for a street race. Specific. Paint the hot rod blue with flames, and install a powerful engine from Steve Petty Tuning. Measurable. Achieve a top speed of 200 miles per hour on the street. Achievable. Use parts and materials available at Larry Jeffers Race Cars. Relevant. Prepare for JJDA Boss's street race event in 2 months. Time-bound. Finish building the hot rod and testing it 1 week before the race. This goal makes sure we know exactly what to do and when to do it, just like getting a hot rod ready for a race. SMART goal for building a fast hot rod for a street race. Specific. Build a 1969 Ford Torino with a 2,000 horsepower engine capable of reaching an 1/8 mile time of 3.7 seconds or less, to compete in a local street race on June 1, 2024. Measurable, engine horsepower, 2,000 horsepower, measured on a dynamometer, 1/8 mile time, 3.7 seconds or less, measured with a timing system. Race date, June 1, 2024. Attainable. The project timeline is 6 months, which is sufficient to source parts, rebuild the engine, and assemble the car. The budget of $175,000 is realistic for acquiring the necessary components and labor. The team has the necessary skills and experience to complete the project successfully. Relevant. Building a fast hot rod aligns with the project's objective of competing in a street race. The chosen car and engine combination are suitable for achieving the desired performance goals. The project contributes to the team's interest in automotive restoration and racing. Time-bound. Project completion date, June 1, 2024. Engine rebuild deadline, April 1, 2024. Car assembly deadline, May 15, 2024. 2. Defining project scope. Differentiate between project scope and project goals. Project goals, like deciding what color to paint a hot rod at Larry Jeffers Race Cars. It's the specific things you want to achieve. Project scope, like deciding how big the hot rod project at Larry Jeffers Race Cars will be, like just the engine or the whole car. It's about what's included in the project and what's not. Understanding these helps everyone know exactly what needs to be done and how big the project will be, just like planning a hot rod build for a street race. Describe the key elements of a well-defined project scope. Project scope, like deciding what parts go into building a hot rod at Larry Jeffers Race Cars. Goals, like knowing why we're building the hot rod, like to win a street race. Budget, like how much money we have to spend on parts and tuning with Steve Petty. Timeline, like when we need to finish the hot rod before the race with JJDA Boss. Resources, like what tools and people we need from Larry Jeffers Race Cars to build the hot rod. Knowing these things helps everyone understand what to do and how big the project will be, just like planning to build a fast hot rod for a street race. Differentiating project scope and project goals. Example analysis. Using the provided example of building a fast hot rod for a street race, let's differentiate between project scope and project goals. Project scope, deliverables, a 1969 Ford Torino with an 2,000 horsepower engine. The car must be capable of reaching an 8th-mile time of 3.7 seconds or less. The car must be ready to compete in a local street race on June 1, 2024. Tasks: sourcing and acquiring the necessary parts and components. Rebuilding the engine to achieve the desired horsepower. Assembling the car and ensuring it meets safety regulations. Testing and tuning the car to optimize performance. Requirements: budget of $175,000. Project timeline of 6 months. Team with the necessary skills and experience. Project goals: increase engine horsepower to 2,000 horsepower, measurable, achieve an 8th-mile time of 3.7 seconds or less, measurable, compete in the local street race on June 1, 2024, time-bound, showcase the team's skills and expertise in automotive restoration and racing, relevant, win the street race, aspirational, analysis. The project scope clearly defines the specific deliverables, tasks, and requirements necessary to build the hot rod. The project goals outline the desired outcomes, including performance targets, competition participation, and showcasing the team's capabilities. The scope and goals are aligned, ensuring that the work undertaken contributes to achieving the desired outcomes. The goals are SMART, providing specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives. Conclusion: this example demonstrates how a well-defined project scope and SMART goals can guide project execution and increase the likelihood of success. By clearly outlining the what and why of the project, the team can focus their efforts on delivering a high-performance hot rod that meets the competition requirements and showcases their skills. Explain the importance of stakeholder involvement in defining project scope. Stakeholder involvement, like asking everyone at LJRC and Steve Petty Tuning what they think about building a hot rod for street racing. Why it's important: it helps us know what everyone wants from the hot rod project, so we can build it right. When everyone is involved, we can make sure the hot rod meets everyone's needs, just like making sure a fast hot rod is ready for a big street race. Importance of stakeholder involvement in defining project scope. Stakeholder involvement in defining project scope is crucial for several reasons. 1. Improved understanding of needs and expectations. Stakeholders represent diverse perspectives and interests, and their involvement ensures that the project scope reflects the needs and expectations of all relevant parties. By actively engaging stakeholders in discussions about the project scope, you can gain valuable insights into their priorities, concerns, and desired outcomes. This understanding helps to ensure that the project is aligned with the overall goals and objectives of the organization or group involved. 2. Enhanced buy-in and commitment. When stakeholders feel involved in the decision-making process, they are more likely to buy into the project and support its success. Their active participation in defining the scope fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, leading to greater commitment and collaboration throughout the project lifecycle. This increased buy-in can also help to mitigate potential resistance or conflicts later on.